Okay, Patrick. Fantastic meeting you. Just met you, 5-6 days ago?
Yeah, a few days. Yeah.
But something that impressed me is how varied your business experience is, which is normal for entrepreneurs. That people have tried a few things here and there. But right now we're in a 130-year-old building built by the richest guy around, who owned the biggest textile mill in Canada,
right?
And just a beautiful stay that we've had here. I want you to tell me maybe a little bit about the story of how you purchased this property, because that's a brilliant story.
Yeah, I'll try and give you the short version of the story, but our family moved here to Almont in 1976. I was 12 years old, and when I was a teenager, I had a little grass cutting business. I've always been entrepreneurial. And I started off with a lawnmower, then I had a tractor, then I had 2 tractors, and then I started looking after a lot of the big estates here.
So this is as a teenager?
As a teenager,
yeah.
And then while I was in grade 11, I actually even got the contract to cut the grass at the school. So not only was I going to school, I was the maintenance guy.
You were being paid to go to school.
Yeah, in a sense. And then I had my younger brother and some other guys helping me out. And this was one of the properties that I looked after the grass for. So I fell in love with this property. And then after high school, what ended up happening was that I got into the real estate business. Very unusual back in 1983, 1984 for a 19-year-old to get their real estate license. Okay, and so I did that and had a great, not such a great start, to tell you the truth. Took me a while to figure it out, and then I started getting some traction. Moved into the commercial area of real estate. But then, for those of your viewers who remember the recession of the early 90s, okay, by 1991 I was 27 years old, and the entire market collapsed, okay? And being in commercial real estate, I'd already started doing some investing in properties. Within a short period of time, the mortgages on the property were higher than the value. Okay. So my first son was born in 1990, so on paper, I was bankrupt, okay? And then I get a call from the guy that I used to cut the grass.
Who's living here?
Who's living here in this house. It was Mr. Norm Reben. He's in the Hall of Fame of public speaking for Canada.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. I'm going to look him up.
Yeah, and he's retired now and living in Saskatchewan. So Mr. Reben calls me up and he says, Patrick, I'd like to invite you out to Pinehurst for a business opportunity. And I'm like, Mr. Reben, I'm broke. if it's about money right now, I'll tell you, I'm just struggling to keep my head above the water.
Won't make a great cash partner.
Yeah, exactly. He said, no, son. He said, come on out, because what I'm talking about here doesn't take a lot of money. So right in this very room, okay, they used to have a couch over here. I came out and he had his flip chart over there. And he started introducing me to a concept in the home-based business area with a marketing concept called network marketing or multi-level marketing. And I'd never heard of it before. I was very well versed in franchises and how that worked. But going through the recession, a lot of people that I had leased out locations or sold buildings to in the 80s who had bought franchises, I saw today that they were bankrupt. Or not today, but in 1991, right? So he starts outlining this methodology of distribution, and I'm looking at it, and he's putting it on the board. And I remember when I was in high school, these cash pyramid schemes that went around, and I'm seeing the same structure. And I said, Mr. Reben, I know you're obviously a well-known, well-established businessman, the whole bit, but I can't help but ask the question, what's the difference here? And he explained it to me. And when he explained it to me, I decided that, you know what, I'm hearing this from somebody who's had a lot more business experience than I have. And in fact, at that time, around that time, he also taught the executive MBA program at some major universities. Okay,
He understands business.
He understands business. And don't forget, this was all pre-internet. He said, in the future, there's changes coming with technology. If you could imagine 1991, somebody talking about changes in technology, right? And so I listened, and I ended up finding a small nutrition company out of Toronto that I was able to join with a small investment. And, I was able to find enough room on my credit card to get started. And started in that, but here's the key, that one of the things that he taught me. He said, in these types of businesses, you will have the opportunity to be mentored by people who are successful. And I was connected with the top income earner in the company in Toronto. And I was blown away because I literally was able to go and spend half a day with this guy in his beautiful home in Mississauga, right, before I'd even joined the company. And I was able to pick his brains, and I related that back to the real estate business, thinking, when I joined my first real estate company, I was not able to go to my broker and say, hey, can you connect me with the top realtor in the company so I can shadow them and pick their brains? And it doesn't happen like that because you become competition.
Yes,
right?
Scarcity
mentality. So I was blown away by that. And not only that, this gentleman said to me, his name was Piero, he said to me, and he had lost his restaurant in the recession and had got involved in this company and done very well. So that at the time that I met him, he was making nearly $400,000 a year, working from home. So think of this. This is
early 90s.
Early 90s, making that kind of money, working from home, and he had a lifestyle and time freedom that I was very attracted to. So that began a change of my career path. And 6 months into this particular company, working at part-time, I walked into Remax and I resigned. And my broker and manager thought I was crazy, okay, but I was making enough money to pay my bills, and it was that business that literally ended up taking off, made quite a large sum of money with that company over a 15-year period. And this property came on the market in 2008. And I found out about it. I was up visiting my mom, and she said, did you hear Pinehurst is on the market? That was a Wednesday night. I saw the property Thursday, made an offer on Friday, and had it closed by the weekend. And because I'd always loved this place, and Mr. Reben is like, he sold it in 1993, but it was new owners, and so that's the story.
So, and interesting, we were just talking before this with Ken about how Ken missed this by a day. You heard about it, put the offer on it, purchased it. He was about 24 hours late to do the deal himself. So you
interesting time.
And we've been enjoying this. One thing that impressed me as I walked around, I mentioned this to the group that we brought in here last weekend, was I was looking at your bookshelves and what percentage of those bookshelves are dedicated to personal development. So I want to ask you, how central a role has personal development been to you, investing in yourself, been to your success in business?
I would say it was the number one factor, because when I was in real estate, what's interesting was that I took a lot of different courses in real estate, but those courses really didn't. It wasn't about personal development. It was about taking your broker's license and learning about appraisal or learning about whatever
information,
knowledge, right? However, when I got introduced to the network marketing industry, one of the things that I realized, because back then we didn't have videos that we could use to show and the whole bit, and it was very much that you had to become comfortable with public speaking. That was an area, and still is an area, that I'm not very comfortable with. But back when I was 27, you wanted me to talk in front of a group of people? No thanks, right? So one of the first things that I was encouraged to do by my mentors was to take the Dale Carnegie course. So at a time when I couldn't really afford it, I found the money to take the Dale Carnegie course on public speaking. So that started me down the path of personal development. And then a young guy that some people have probably heard of by now, Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins.
I've heard of him.
You've heard of that guy before, right? Apparently, he was, I think, only maybe 29 at the time. He came to Ottawa and packed the Ottawa Congress Centre. Well, I had a chance to meet Tony in person, and I bought all of his material. Okay, back then I still have it. Funny story was probably 5 years ago, I shared with my daughter, who's now 23, but so she was probably 18 at the time, and I shared with her some of the Tony Robbins cassette tapes, but they're in a package. It looked like it was a CD package, right? She comes back in about half an hour and she says,
what am I going to do with this?
Dad, what is it? How do I...
What are these boxes?
What are these boxes? Where did they go? Right, so we had a great chuckle over that because she had never seen a cassette tape in her life, right? But I still have those that type of material today, and that was essential in laying the foundation for me to continue on that path. And I've brought up my children that way. So when we would go on long trips, we were listening to Anthony Robbins, Jim Rohn, you know, a number of great speakers.
Yeah. So staying along that vein, who would be, and it might be personal development, it would be somebody else, but who would be kind of the number one influence in your life, the person who's made the biggest difference for you and your business?
You know, it wouldn't be fair to just say it would be one person, but if I had to pick one person and go back to the early stages, it would probably be a gentleman by the name of Jack St. Arnaud. Okay, because it was through Mr. Reben that I met Jack St. Arnaud. Okay. And Jack is really the one, and Jack's like, when I first met him, it was like, you're going to meet this farmer from Alberta. So I'm expecting like a farmer from Alberta. Well, he's come more like a J.R. Ewing type of farmer. He had his own plane and, you know, third or fourth generation farming in the semen and embryo business. Okay. And they had cattle and big time operation out there. And I meet Jack, and Jack is diversifying in network marketing, okay, because the farm, depending on weather, can be up and down and the whole bit. and he's the one that really taught me to think outside of the box, because all his farmer friends thought he was crazy, right? And just like when I got into the network marketing industry, a lot of my realtor friends, you know, thought it was, my dad thought I had lost it, right? But the thing is, it's a matter of really realizing what you have and getting educated in that. And Jack is the one who really encouraged me on the personal development side. In fact, even treated me one time to a course in, where was it? It was in Jasper. And a guy by the name of Ed Foreman and his wife came up. Ed was a U.S. Senator at one time.
Yeah, you've
probably heard the name. Yeah. And went on a 3-day retreat in the Rocky Mountains with Ed Foreman and about 50 other people. And again, it was all personal development. So I'd say Jack St. Arnaud. Okay,
so again, you're leading into perfect questions here, because you talked about how in moving in these directions, you had a lot of opposition around you, people thinking you're crazy around you. How have you found profitable ways of or useful ways of dealing with just negativity around you? When everyone's saying you're an idiot, you're crazy, that doesn't work, you're a liar, it's illegal, whatever they're saying, how have you found to deal with those things?
You know, one of the things, and I don't know where it came from, but I tend to take things with a grain of salt if somebody's giving their opinion. But at the same time, I'm usually not asking their opinions, because I'm one of those types of people that like to do my homework on things, and I like to dig for the information myself so that I can get a reasonably good understanding of what it is, and whether it be an investment or a business opportunity that I'm going to go into. And I think it's this human nature that it's interesting, because you know, a lot of people, they talk about how negative their friends and family can be towards things. But it's interesting. I don't get a lot of that negativity, right? Yeah. I get more support than not that everybody's going to come into whatever I'm proposing or different ideas. That doesn't matter, because that's about timing in people's lives. But I also think it's about the people that I've found the most open-minded and less critical are the most successful people in life. Okay, so for example, you could go to the CEO of a big corporation with a business idea. Okay, like one of the businesses that I'm in right now is travel. Okay, travel membership, and I could go to somebody who you would think would not be interested in something like that or have not a need for it because they have everything that they have, and that person could see the big picture with this and be extremely interested in it. Whereas if I talk to some of his staff who have been working there for years and years and years, earning a wage and not understanding profits, they might naturally be just negative towards it because they don't understand.
Confused minds.
Confused mind, or they've been programmed that for themselves to be an entrepreneur just won't work. Okay.
Oh yeah, so other people can do it, not me.
Yeah,
in some ways.
Exactly, and that's a confidence thing, and I think it's also to do with the way that our school system is set up. That we're taught to essentially go to school, get good grades, to then go to post-secondary education or whatever, to what? Go work for somebody else.
Absolutely.
Right, and
to collect a pension one day.
Yeah, and I've just gone down a totally different path. So I don't, and a lot of the people that I associate with, don't think that way. Not to say that that's I'm not saying it's a bad route or anything like that. I know some very successful people and happy people who've gone that way. It's just that that's a world that I don't understand. Very well. Yeah.
So I'm going to summarize some of the keys that I've been hearing from you. Correct me where I'm wrong, add, take away, feel free to do that. What I'm hearing is that you had this kind of mindset from early on of I want to do things on my own.
Yeah.
Right from the grass cutting business early on. You've experimented with a lot of different businesses. Some of them haven't gone perfectly.
Oh yeah.
And that's fine. What I've heard is that you're persistent in them. You kept, when you heard about a good opportunity, you did your own research rather than just listening to naysayers, people who there's always going to be somebody who can say that it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Instead, you did your own research. You didn't care about people's opinions as much as you wanted to learn for yourself.
Right.
That you worked hard on personal development. I heard public speaking and learning sales. That you had great mentors in your life, people above you in your uplines, people around you that were willing to invest in you, and you sought that out. That you spent time, money, and energy. Sometimes when you didn't feel you had it, you would still spend that on yourself to grow. And what else have you said? Yeah, just that there were some terrific people in your life that invested in you. Would you add anything to that?
No, I think that's a real fair summary. And the other thing that I have found though to be, important in this whole thing is trying to maintain balance so it's not always work. Okay, because I love to work. I could never retire. And one of the things that I've learned, especially through this new travel business that we're involved with, and we're also involved in, we're involved in multiple different revenue streams coming in, but the travel one in particular is so much fun because that's what our product is. It's travel, and it's forcing me to take vacations. Okay, which is awesome. My wife loves that.
I'm sure she doesn't complain. Right?
So,
I wouldn't complain either. And actually, so some of these MLMs, network marketing companies that you've been involved with, Ken and I have been talking to you about. We're going to get more information after this video is done.
Right.
One other question. Well, I guess two other questions. What has you shared the person who maybe had the biggest impact on you with Jack? What is maybe the best book or a book that you had that had the greatest impact on you?
There's two that come to mind,
okay.
and those two books I've given to each of my three kids. Okay. The first one is Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and the second one is Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. You've probably heard those.
We just gave them away to the last group.
Oh, really?
Both those books. Yeah.
Hope you didn't give away my copies.
No, I didn't. We left yours. We gave the new copies.
Okay.
We didn't want to steal the margin. Whatever you read. So last question here. Just to, and I'm sure that there's going to be something that we just heard with the two books we just heard. But if you were going to give the average person these are the must-read books, like 2, 3, 4 books. You have to read these. If you want to change your mindset, if you want to grow, if you want to start getting to a place where you can be a successful entrepreneur, what would you say? What are the must-reads?
Well, I've the two that I just mentioned. Okay, yeah. I would say those are because those are. It's not complicated. Yep. Okay, because if you start getting into, Eckhart Tolle and The Power of Now and things like that, great books. But if I had started with things like that when I was in my 20s, but the How to Win Friends and Influence People, Think and Grow Rich, it's a great starting point. And then of course I have a lot of the Anthony Robbins books, and probably my favorite speaker of all time, even though I probably have some of his books here, Jim Rohn. Okay. Jim Rohn, to me, like, wow, just Google Jim Rohn and watch some of his YouTube clips. And back in, what year was it? 1994, Jim Rohn came to Ottawa. Okay. And he was doing a 2 or 3 day weekend retreat at the Chateau Laurier. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And there was probably less than 80 people there, and I had around. To think of that, Jim Rohn for a weekend with 80 people. Yeah. Right. And I went and brought a team, and we had, I think, 15 or 20 of those people were in our lifestyles business at that time in 1994, and our business literally. From the core group that we started with here in Ottawa with 5 people in July of 1992. By 1994, we were up to probably 5,000 people in Canada. Okay, but through integrating the personal development, and a lot of this was because Jack was our upline in that company, that group grew into 250,000 people all over the world within 10 years. Okay, so Indonesia, the Philippines, Czech, Poland. If you look around here, you'll see a lot of the different things that I've picked up over the years.
Like art
and things like that have come from my network marketing travels around the world, where I'd go in and do trainings for 5,000 people in Manila or 1,000 people in Brno, Czech Republic, and so the experience has been unbelievable. Something that I couldn't have done in the real estate business had I stayed in the Ottawa market.
Something I love about Jim Rohn is his voice. Like, he's a really funny guy.
Yeah.
But his voice is really unique. I think it took me a little while to get used to it.
Right.
But I remember, like, about the wildebeest where he's like, the lion. You gotta watch the lion. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely.
So just to go back to the MLMs, because I want to get your contact information to anyone who's watching this. Because there's so much. And by the way, thank you. There's so much useful information here. And if you are listening well to this video, you're going to pick up diamonds and gold all over the place. Just to really quickly review MLMs, if somebody doesn't know about it, a network marketing company is built to invest in each other. So a lot of businesses, you're out on your own in many ways, and if you want help, you've got to pay for it.
Right.
An MLM is set up so that the person above you wants to invest in you. If they invest in you, they do better. In the same way you invest in somebody else, and they do better. So one of the things that I absolutely love about MLMs is they really encourage personal development. Because the better that people around me do, the better I do. And you talked about that core group of 15 or 20 growing to 500, 20, 250K. Those are massive changes.
Absolutely.
I highly recommend, if anybody's interested in business, to look at least at an MLM, because it's not easy, and you do have to grow a lot, but the development that you have to go through in that process sets you up for business in the future, or just continued growth in that business as well. So what are the best ways to contact you? If somebody said, well, first of all, you've got a travel network marketing company that you're involved in.
So just to give you a bit of context, because I was with the same company for like I said, 15 years, and Then that company, as good as the product was, the company started making changes to the compensation plan, and ourselves, our checks, we could see that they were slowly going down because the company was making changes. So we had some real leadership issues. So, but I had invested in real estate, mainly in London, Ontario, and I don't recommend this, but somehow I got into the restaurant business. I thought it'd be fun. I still have 2 restaurants, so if anybody wants a restaurant, I can sell you a restaurant, but I don't recommend it. But thank God we own the real estate, because had we been renting, we would have lost our shirt. So we've done okay in that area. But as I phased out of the network marketing industry, I came back into it because we get approached all the time, right? Every time there's a new company coming into Canada, because people knew that I had such a large organization and influence in multiple countries, etc. And what I started seeing though was that a lot of the MLMs, that the price of the products to me were getting skyrocket, okay? And when I started in the early 90s, the product that we were retailing was $35 at retail, wholesale $20. Now, for your high-end nutrition products and the whole bit, we're talking like $80, $90, $100 US, okay? And you can many times find similar products, you know, online at Amazon or Costco or whatever for less money. So to me, I didn't want to be involved in something where I didn't see the value. So about 2-3 years ago, I did a research project trying to identify what's the next big thing in network marketing, okay, that would appeal to me, but is also looking for something for my 3 kids.
Sure.
Who are now 19, 23, and 27.
Coming to the age where they can start doing it on their own.
Exactly. And that's when I came across this company called World Ventures. And again, I was analyzing World Ventures along with multiple other companies, but I kept on coming back to this one. Kept on coming back to it. And the reason is this, is that it's a membership, okay? And when you pay the membership dues, either $55 a month or $100 a month, it actually gets stored into your own travel account. So instead of ordering,
so
you're banking it and able to apply it towards vacations in the future. So what I did was 2 years ago, I actually bought the membership so I could get access to all the pricing. And right at this very table, I sat for about 3 weeks with Excel spreadsheets, comparing all of the trips. We also have a thing that, you know, where you can buy wholesale flights, car rental, hotels and the whole bit. So I was doing all of that work, and then I turned to my wife and said, this thing really does work, right? So then what I did was I went down to Detroit and I attended a training, a one-day training. Then I went to Dallas to the headquarters and met the people involved in the whole bit. So the thing is, you can go online and Google World Ventures or any other network marketing company, and you'll see people up there saying, oh, this is a scam, it's not the way to travel the world, and the whole bit. And had I done my Google diligence, okay, which is what the masses do, right, versus due diligence, I would have spent 10 minutes and got, oh, there's some negative stuff on this. But then I realized this, there's a whole industry out there that people are using negativity to attract traffic to their sites. So they will be talking about New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ companies, okay, that are worth hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, and you've got some guy saying it's a scam, trying to get, you know, because you shared it with your brother and he's going to see and he's going to prove to you it's a scam, right? But meanwhile, this guy's selling ad space and trying to sell you something else. So this is why I think it's important that people do their due diligence. I did that, and then when I decided to do this, it really worked because people knew that I did the homework. And now we've been on 10 dream trips with the company. It's been wonderful. We for $100 investment, we now have a full-time income from this business, even though it's a part-time venture. So we're loving it.
So you've got, there's the travel MLM that you're involved in. There's also another MLM called EXP that you're involved in. So the reason I'm mentioning these is because there might be somebody that's watching that goes, hey, I am a real estate agent or whatever. I could get a little bit more information. So you don't have to tell a lot about it right now, because we're gonna interview again, specifically probably about EXP. Okay. Having said that, if somebody's interested in business and they have a passion for travel, or they're interested in real estate as an agent, what's the best way to contact you?
Best way to contact me is with myself. Just send me a text or give me a call. 613-614-4229. Okay. So 613-614-4229, or email patrickashby@rogers.com.
And Patrick, no dot in between?
No.
So Patrick, C-K, Ashby, A-S-H-B-Y?
Correct. At rogers.com.
At rogers.com, okay.
Yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me. And just to clarify, EXP is actually not a multi-level marketing. Okay. It's actually a real estate company and this is a funny story. When I was evaluating, World Ventures in Detroit, the gentleman who was giving the training stands up and he talks about how in the 90s he joined a company called Keller Williams. Keller Williams is the largest real estate company in the world with 160,000 agents in 21 countries. This and another story, 17 years ago I was involved in helping bring Keller Williams to Canada. Myself and 3 partners went and met Gary Keller in Detroit, learned about the concept, because we were going to create a similar type concept, but we buried our idea, and my buddy Jeff Hooper bought the rights to Keller Williams and brought it to Ontario here. So very, very interested in that model, because they use they basically reward the agents to attract other agents through profit sharing. So anyways, this guy at the World Ventures event. He's a top leader in World Ventures, but he also has 42,000 Keller Williams agents in his organization. I go up to him on the break and I say, hey, do you know Jeff Hooper? He said, yes, I know the name. I told him the story of how Jeff and myself and another partner met Gary Keller, and he looked at me with laser eyes and he said, do you still know realtors? And I said, of course I do. My son's actually getting his real estate license. And he says, we're working on something right now which is the Netflix of real estate. Netflix versus Blockbuster. And that company is called EXP Realty. So EXP Realty started in 2009 as the first agent-owned in-the-cloud brokerage. So what happens here is that this company has no offices, no bricks and mortar, and they have an internal revenue share for the agents that literally can earn a full-time real estate income by just attracting a handful of people to the company, and then it's publicly traded. So the agents are earning shares in the company. So last night, and then I might look a little tired because we just drove in last night, got home at 1 o'clock in the morning. We were at the Harbour Castle in downtown Toronto for the official launch in Ontario. And my RE/MAX broker, from the 80s, who I handed in my resignation to, he just became an EXP agent. 41 years in the industry, 31 with RE/MAX, 10 with Keller Williams, all in management. And we're attracting some of the biggest names in Canada now to this new concept. It's phenomenal.
Fantastic. Thank you for being willing to do this with us. Thank you for being willing to share. Again, it's so valuable to people if they can hear other people who've had ups and downs, have figured certain things out, not because they're perfect, because they're willing to learn and grow, and have persisted in doing something that's really cool. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.